I guess we're going to find out if the upgrade and my computer did the job that it's supposed to do. We'll find out if our video works all the way through. I sure hope so because I invested a pretty penny to get this thing squared away, but you deserve to have videos that work right. So let's give this a try and see how it works. Okay, essays. Maybe a little bit of a drop off in quality this past week. Um, Maybe it was the material. I don't know. I think the Poe story is pretty captivating. We see Montresor as kind of the coolest first person narrator that you might ever see because he is so darn devious. He is evil, and yet he sucks in Fortunato. He kind of challenges Fortunato with these things of, well, maybe it's too damp down here, and with your cold, maybe you shouldn't do this, and that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool because he obviously is throwing out a challenge. I mean, you don't throw those things out in front of a guy and expect him to say, oh, yeah, you're right, I'm going to turn around and go home. This is what you do to get guys to do things, okay? Guys don't think, okay? Guys just do, Well, so Fortunato was going to do this, and he went ahead and did it. Now, you guys in this class, if you want to object to that comment of mine, feel free to do that in your essay or in your comment or, write an email to the whole class and tell them you object. I don't care. But in general, guys don't think when they do things is my personal observation. Okay, so you women can say, "Wow, yeah, I always thought that. I never thought I'd hear a guy say it." You know what? At my age, I can be honest. Okay, so anyway, maybe the little drop off in quality this week was because of that. I hope so. I hope so. Okay. But boy, with the grandmother, you folks were all so empathetic or sympathetic toward her. Man, I think she is a control freak. Um, she may have reminded you of your own grandmother, and that's why you had so many nice things to say about her. But boy, oh boy, I kind of saw her from the point of view of what the wife might be thinking of. Oh God, my mother-in-law, what a pain in the neck. That's the way I saw her. I didn't think she was a loving, caring person. I thought she was somebody who wanted to dominate the scene, and it's like, those are not her kids. They're her grandkids. She raised her kids, and it's time to let her kids do their job. So, I have no great affection for that grandmother at all. And so I had no bad feelings at all when she got gunned down. I felt, in fact, like when the rest of the family got gunned down, she almost has no reaction at all, other than, oh, my baby, when Bailey gets killed. So I had little to no use for her. But maybe those are part of the reasons why quality fell a little bit. But let's say it head back up, okay? In general, though, your comments have been pretty darn good. There's only a couple of you that still kind of, didn't have anything to do, didn't have anything to say other than, yeah, that was good. And there's still a couple of you who are not doing comments. You're not going to get a good grade by not doing comments. It's going to hurt you, okay? And I sent emails to some of you to tell you that. Okay, so moving forward now, setting. I want you to think of setting as a complex kind of thing. Setting is not just the place where something happens. It is the whole world around it, okay? So setting, yeah, sure, setting is the place. That's one part of it, okay? But if we had a story set in Buffalo in September or October, we might be talking about the best weather in the world. Buffalo's weather in September, October is glorious. Typical highs, 70-ish, 72-ish, an awful lot of blue skies, sunshine, humidity level down a little bit. Just absolutely gorgeous. Okay. On the other hand, if you talk about Buffalo's weather in early August, where it might be 92 and humid, it's like, yuck, who really wants to be here? And if you talk about Buffalo's weather in February of 2015, when the average temperature for the whole month was 11 degrees. I mean, for the whole month was 11 degrees. And most mornings when you got up, it was below zero. I ran on a morning when it was 12 degrees below zero. I was out one evening when it was 16 degrees below zero. Most of us don't love that kind of weather. It's all the same place. It's all here in Buffalo, okay? But, the time of year and the season make a difference. Also, last year in February, we had days that were in the 50s and 60s. And a couple of weeks ago, we had a day where it was 63 degrees. Contrast that with 2015, when we were lucky when we got into the teens, So the actual year makes a difference, okay? But let's go beyond Buffalo too, New York City is usually a terrific place to visit, no matter when. They really don't get winter down there very often. But last week they got a big snowstorm and all the flights into New York were shut down, okay? Rarely happens, but in that particular setting, in that particular place, at that particular time of year, it happened, okay? So setting involves all of those things. Now, I was in Atlanta, Georgia back in January. Now, Atlanta is a gorgeous city, okay? Marietta, Georgia is where I was. That's where my son and our six grandchildren live, okay? And it's a beautiful area. I love it. Their temperature is usually wonderful, usually January, February. They're 60-ish. When they get warm, they're maybe close to 70. But it's really a nice area. Well, when we were there, in early January this year, the Friday, we got there Thursday night, right? And there was some snow forecast for Friday in Atlanta, okay? So the kids got a text saying their schools were going to close 2 hours early on Friday because they wanted everybody home before the snow hit. And then they got like an inch and a half of snow. Okay, which, we laugh about here. It's not even worth mentioning. But then Saturday they got a text that all of the masses in their parish and all of the activities in their Catholic parish were canceled for the entire weekend because they got an inch and a half of snow. Now, it stayed so cold there that even though the sun shined all day Saturday, that inch and a half of snow did not melt. You could still see the grass coming out through the top of it, but the snow didn't melt. That's how cold it was. And then when my son and I ran, we ran 8 or 10 miles Sunday morning, and the wind chill, the temperature you feel was 2 degrees in Atlanta. On the other hand, last weekend in Atlanta, it was in the 70s. My grandkids were out playing in their shorts and T-shirts, So setting isn't just place. It's a whole lot of stuff, okay? And so why is that such a big deal in Atlanta? Well, because they don't have anything to clean the roads, and so the kids actually were off from school Monday and Tuesday also because they don't have salt for the roads, they don't have plows for the roads. And my grandkids who were raised here in Buffalo laugh about it down there because, nothing happens, the world stops. Okay, so setting involves a ton of things. Setting can also involve the actual years that things are taking place. So, for instance, let's see. Back in what year was it? It doesn't matter. But back 100 years ago, okay, or 150 years ago, if you had a fire in your neighborhood, the firemen would come on a horse-drawn wagon. And unless the fire department was only a couple of blocks away, it obviously was going to take them a lot of time to get there. Not only that, but if you had fire insurance, they put a plaque above your door that said you had fire insurance, and so the firemen would come and put out the fire at your house. In today's world, if you have a fire in your house, the firemen are going to be there, boom, right away. Okay, because they have different kinds of equipment. We have different kinds of communications. I mean, you go back 150 years and what happens? Somebody's got to get on a horse or a bicycle or something and ride to the fire department to tell them that there's a fire at this place, right? In today's world, you text or you pick up the phone and tell them, that kind of thing. Okay, so all of this technological stuff. I mean, what the heck? We're having class online here. When I started at Trocare, there were no online classes because there was no internet. Believe it or not, there was no internet when I started at Trocare. So the kind of class that we have, the kind of video that we're doing right now, could not have existed. The world is different. You would have had to have yourself in my classroom for us to have this class. And almost all classes met 3 times a week, 50 minutes each. So you would have had to truck 3 times a week to Trocare for this class rather than sit down at home, read a lesson, watch a video, read the material, and then email me or, post the material on Moodle, which, of course, is kind of a relatively new thing, too. Okay? So, the change in equipment, all of that makes a difference. Okay? Keep all of this in mind when you are reading the works for this week. One of the works we're talking about is to build a fire. Keep in mind not only the setting, but the temperature, the time period, the change in technology, all the technological advances we've had happen since that story was written around 1900. Okay, I mean, we didn't have airplanes in 1900, and helicopters and all that stuff didn't exist. Okay, so think about all of that stuff. Even the equipment that the guy uses to try to build a fire, think about that, okay? All of that comes into setting because the setting involves all of those things, not just the place, but all of those things. And in Ind Af, okay, the short story Ind Af, the story is set in modern times, but they keep referring back to something that happened in 1914 in that place. And there is certainly a connection between what happened in 1914 in that place when Princeps, a young political activist, killed the Archduke Ferdinand, which was the straw that broke the camel's back, really was the start of the First World War. Okay, so that's a pretty critical aspect in there. But think about the analogy between that and what happens between this student and her teacher. Okay, just put all those things together and realize that all of that is about setting. And again, bring in your own personal experiences too. I had a student one year who, when we talked about to build a fire, she had been stationed in Alaska when she was in the service. And she had actually taken a video of herself she had somebody take a video of her taking a pan of water outside and throwing it in the air. And by the time it reached the ground, it had turned to ice. Okay, gives you a little idea of Alaska. So anyway, have a good week. We're writing about setting this week, so delve into that, and we'll talk to you soon. And then next weekend, we won't have an assignment for the following weekend because that's part of our February break. Okay? Have a good one.